Would you recommend this guide? Hell yeah, let's click that yes real quick. Hello everyone, welcome to the Fire Emblem Rekka no Ken character guide by Dark Koji. This was made last updated in 2004, and I'm gonna take a look at it today not because I want to make fun of Dark Koji and Ikikupa, respected authors of this guide. I've made many bad guides myself, but because I think it's fun to take a look at how people thought of characters all the way back in the day and how that looks now. Let's see, can I read myself? Yeah, I can highlight stuff, so that's helpful. So this is a character rating guide of FE7. The guys are just gonna go through every character in the game and rate them. And I'm gonna compare that to how we see these characters today. Find this guide helpful? Hell yeah, send that shit. Let's go. Message sent. There we go. Now GameFAQs knows I love this guide. So yeah, let's get into it. Introduction. This is my first attempt in doing a FAQ, which is like frequently asked questions for those of you who were born after 2014 or whatever. First attempt, so I'm still quite new in this aspect. My reasons in doing this FAQ is mainly because I wish to express my own honest opinions and views on most, if not all, the playable characters in this wonderful game. So, with reference from what I have played, I am proud to present to you my personal experiences and views on characters I have used. Please be reminded that this FAQ is not 100% accurate, and without the full use of RNG, therefore you might not agree with some of my comments. Full use of the RNG. I wonder if he means RNG abuse. But whatever it is, I hope this guide will roughly help or at least entertain you in your selection of characters that is to your taste. Any further inquiries, comments, corrections, please feel free to contact me. And please no flaming, thank you. People used to say flaming a lot, now they don't. Nice fellow FE player Ikikupa and Anwar are also helping me out in this FAQ, such as giving their 2 cents worth of playable characters. For any questions regarding their comments, you may contact them via email. Sorry, Dutch pronunciation there. No flaming them as well. Yeah, people don't really say flaming anymore. I just noticed this. Okay, so here's all the recruitments when they're joining. Like, sure, I'll believe it. Usually these guides are like pretty fine for this kind of thing. When it gets problematic is the same places where the Fire Emblem Wiki usually goes wrong is opinions. Opinions are often wrong, apparently. But yeah, I'll believe all this stuff. I'm not gonna verify that. Okay, it gives like a little bit of information on how to recruit Wallace, Geets, Harkin, Karel. Interestingly enough, I thought this guide. I guess it's just character guide. It's not really like character opinion guide. So I guess there's room for this kind of stuff. But then it has this random section about Dart, Vida, Jafar, and Merlin. So I guess they thought that these were the least straightforward recruitments in the game, and so they thought they would make a guide on that. Fair enough. Sure. But here we go. Characters. How to use this guide. Since the guide is more or less based on my own personal experience with the characters, I included the best set stats I have come across of each individual character in my various plays. The best set stats. I assume that means the best set of stats. So he's played the game a couple times. Some characters he's used multiple times and he takes the best set of them. So this may roughly help you to gauge their potential, but you are to be warned that there is a possibility the character might not turn out to your expectations. So basically, he's saying, I use these characters, these are my experiences with them, but keep in mind that there is RNG, which, you know, in a very cynical way, we could say like personal experience never is significant. I think that's the abbreviation people like to use, because if you abbreviate it, you get a naughty word. But, I mean, okay, if you're going to use personal experience, I'm very glad that you put this in here. But I guess I just phrase, like, back then there was no such thing as like Fire Emblem debating or Fire Emblem averages, like stuff like resources like that. I'm assuming they had access to growths of some kind, because those are pretty damn old. I don't know though, maybe they just didn't have access to that kind of info. But back then this was the kind of info you needed. I think they were there for GameFAQs and IGN, so I'm not sure. Anyway, notes about promotion items and how promotion works, that's all. I'll believe those things. Like, I'm not gonna nitpick that. Brief rundown on how this character listing is arranged. So it goes class by class, which is something I'm never really a big fan of, but it's a good way to arrange characters. You could either do it this way or alphabetically. I'm not a big fan of the notion that like you should only use one cavalier or only one knight or only one archer. You guys know that, I think. But hey, in this case, it's just a way to order characters. So I'm not gonna be nitpicking it just yet. Alright, legends. So a star means maxed out. X out of 10 is their rating. And then these are for Eliwood and Hector mode. Can you guys see my curse? Okay, we'll start with the lords. Now these are always without exception bad, and this is not looking to be any exception. Comments on Lyn. 8.5 out of 10. Iggy even gives him a big fat 9 out of 10. As shown in the stats below, Lynn maxed out her skill and speed stats. I'm getting the sense that these guys are not, like, I don't feel like English is their first language. It isn't for me, so I sympathize with that. But I feel like you could like proofread your stuff. Like I don't proofread my shit because I don't care, and I have other people proofread it for me. So I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, why are you writing a guide? It's kind of mean to put it out like that. But my point is, the errors are very obvious to catch with like one quick proofread. So that makes me curious how much time to put into it. But hey, they're making this in their own time. You know, they're putting their own time into this. Let's not be too mean to them. Okay, so Lynn maxed out her skill and speed stats with ease if given sufficient level ups. Her strength growth is not usually very reliable though, and may result in a bit of a problem when dealing damage to much tougher bosses late in the game. Other than that, she's an awesome sword user and a good bow user after class changed. Think Nomad plus Myrmidon, and then the little tilly thing at the end just to show you that like that they mean business. What happens if you make a Nomad and a Myrmidon? You get Lynn. Well, that's not really how Lynn was made probably, but shippers disagree on this topic quite a bit. Lynn is the best lord in my opinion. Okay, she ties with Hector, if not. She may have low strength, but her strength does rise at a rather steady rate. She would be a perfect unit if she did not have such defenses and constitution. Because of that, I just stick with giving her a bow when she's at a higher level, but that's just my preference. Okay. I'm a little confused. She may have low strength, but her strength does rise at a rather steady rate. I guess they mean like her base is low, but it rises at a steady rate. 40% I wouldn't call it steady, but it's up to opinion. Let's just say it's not in line with what we think of Lynn today, alright? Let's just say that. Next meme. Elliewood. 8.5 out of 10 and 6 out of 10. Oh, interesting. Elliewood starts off kind of weak, but turns well-rounded after a few leveling up. And after class changing, he just gets better. I like balanced characters, and Elliewood fits the bill. Smiley face, so you know they mean business. He do not really have any true weakness, but his stats may not excel sometimes. A disappointment though is that his speed maxes out at 24, which is low considering the fact that he can easily acquire a higher score if the limit was raised. Oh, I guess they mean like he cap ramped speed for him, and apparently they did that for both playthroughs. It's like, here, speed is 24 maxed out, speed is 24 maxed out. Oh, you guys can see that shit. There we go. 24 is maxed out. Fair enough. Fair enough. Like, again, I don't think anyone... I think he probably always, or on average, does that. Now I'm curious, but I can't be bothered to check because then my OBS things will get messed up. Pretty sure that Elliewood will usually max out his speed if you train him all the way to level 20. Do keep in mind these guys are usually made with Elliewood normal and then maybe Hector normal in mind. Like, if someone, like, in order to unlock Hector hard mode, you actually have to beat the game twice or get a save state from somewhere. And I get the suspicion that these were based off of Elliewood normal and then Hector mode, like your first 2 playthroughs. I think, because, you know, he's only referring to the game being played like twice. So that probably makes some characters who would not do well on Hector hard mode get like a little bit of inflation. Because the difference between Elliewood normal and Hector hard is pretty huge. Anyway, a disappointment though is that his speed maxes out at 24. He would get a higher score, the limit was raised. Since he's one of the protagonists, I always use him in order to acquire support with ladies compatible to him. My personal favorite being Elliewood X Ninian. Song smiley sticky face. There we go. There we go. Yeah, this is something that sort of bothers me sometimes about guides, is they tend to mix in like character preferences with unit preferences, aka they mix in like story with gameplay. Now I know that Fire Emblem is all about an experience where, you know, the story ties into the gameplay and vice versa, and it's really nice when it melts together. But when you're making a guide that's just based on your opinions of units based on gameplay, I try to keep this out of him. But then again, they are pretty fair with just saying these are just their personal opinions and preferences, so at least they got that going for him. But I usually try to keep these out of my character analyses when I can. I bring it up as like a fun little bit of a side note, but here it feels like it's part of his opinion. That's what it feels like to me anyway. Now Iggy, 6 out of 10. Okay, I'm sure you'll be rather shocked that I rate him this low, but personally, I think he is terrible. Apparently this was like a controversial opinion back then. He does not have mad stats like some characters do. He tends to have low speed before promotion. I never ever got to train him to a decent level before promoting. I never really liked him. I know it sounds rather biased, but that's what I think. Alright. Unpopular opinion here. This guy doesn't like Elliewood's combat performance. Wow. This guy would fit right in today. Next is Hector. Marquess Ostia's younger brother. They always have this description up here about the characters. It's cute flavor, I guess. Koji's comments, 9 out of 10. Hector's definitely a useful unit in a battlefield. He's able to dish out major damage to most enemies, as well as able to take a couple of blows before ever going down. Although Hector is able to use swords after class changing, I still prefer to let him stick to axes instead, as they alone are good enough. I agree, I never really liked using swords on Hector either. I would do it sometimes to get weapon triangle, or if I just felt like it, because it's fun to mess around with like an iron blade and stuff, but it doesn't really do a whole lot for him. He'd rather have lances probably. It's a pity though that Hector's speed and skill maxes out at 24, as he could probably go higher without that limit. This seems familiar. Where did I see that before? Never mind, his superb strength and defense make up for a loss. Probably the best lord you got in this game. Fair enough. I think for new players, this is pretty much what everyone thinks of Hector on the first playthrough. He takes a lot of hits, he dishes out a lot of damage, he generally doubles just fine in the normal modes. He's a really good unit for them. And movement's not really a big concern when you're playing blindly. You like units that can smash up stuff. This is why new players like Oswin a lot as well. So I'm okay with this rating. Like, I don't personally think that he is a 9 out of 10 or anything, but I can understand why a new player would have that kind of opinion. Iggy's comments. Okay, I was wrong. 10 out of 10. Hector is the best lord. First, he is an axe user. It seems there are more lance users in Hector's route, which makes him even better. I usually get him to level 20 without even knowing it, since I use him so much. He has incredible strength and defense. His evade will be extraordinary. Wow. I mean, so in theory, you could get extraordinary avoid on Hector if you give him supports. The Eliwood and Hector support, whoops, my mic. The Eliwood and Hector support gives full evasion, so that's a really fast one too. It gives like 15 evasion. But then his next support would have to be like Oswin, I guess, also gives him evasion, because Oswin is anima, if I remember correctly, and so is Eliwood, so he just gets like full avoid from that. Matthew only gives him half avoid, so you don't want that on Hector. That could give him good evade, but he doesn't mention that. I think he just got lucky on his Hector. He just got good evade, because generally Hector's speed and luck are like average at best, so he shouldn't have amazing evade. But hey, to top it off, he has one of the highest constitution in the game. You can use any sword without any decrease in speed, and practically every axe. Use Hector, he is the best lord. And you can see, I don't know whose playthrough this is. I think it's the first guy, Koji's, because that's the main author of the guide. And I think these are the stats he got on his playthroughs. You can see one of his Hectors got maxed out on speed, and he got like 19 luck, which I think is about average. I don't know though. And then the next Hector is 20 speed, which I think is about average. This is definitely above average though. I think he might have gotten a speed wing or just really lucky. Fast ass Hector. But yeah, I would never describe Hector's speed as, or his evasion as extraordinary, but everything else about him I can understand. Cavalier Paladin. So now they're going to review every character class by class. Ooh, breathe in. Alright, Sane gets a 7 of 5 out of 10. Inui would approve, because Inui could never see Hector being better than Sane. Or actually, could never see Sane being better than Hector. I should say this properly if I'm going to make a joke. Sane's good. When you first get him, he is almost alike to Kent, but after a few level ups, he will probably have more strength, but lesser defense compared to his counterpart. It's your choice on who to pick, but it doesn't really make a difference, since both Sane and Kent are good cavaliers. Cavaliers, alright. And in the long run, the two will probably end up with more or less the same stats, but if I do have to choose, I might want to pick Kent, because he isn't like some flirt here. Doesn't really say anything about the fact that they're Cavaliers and they have the best class in the game, other than a flyer class, I guess. But hey, whatever. Like, I could comment on like this Sane is like atypical or whatever, but you guys can see that if you're interested in that. I don't really feel like going through each of these and being like, oh my god, he's got so blessed on his strength or something, like whatever, that's fine. He didn't really say a whole lot about Sane himself. He just kind of compared him to Kent and said they were roughly the same. So if I were to write a character guide, I'd probably want to say something about Sane, period. Like the fact that he can use swords, lances, and then later axes. I guess that's true for all Cavaliers and Paladins, but hey. Kent. Kent is your other good Cavalier besides Sane. That's why he's given he's also been given a 7.5 out of 10. I'm sorry that this highlighting is like kind of messy, but that's just the way GameFAQs guides are always, and the same goes for IGN guides, they are always just text document. It's like if you write something in Notepad. So that's why the highlighting is a little bit, flickery. If Sane has good strength, then Kent have better defense and HP. So who's better, you ask? Take both of them if you want, but either of them will suffice, especially the one that suits your taste. Yeah, use both. They're both so good. I will say FE7 has a bit of a Nightcrest problem, where if you don't promote one of your Cavaliers in Limb mode using Wallace's Nightcrest, and you generally can't on your first playthrough because Limb normal mode forces you to use Wallace's Nightcrest on Wallace, and you might not even think to use the Nightcrest on Sane or Kent since they wouldn't be level 20. But anyway, the problem is you only get like one early Nightcrest in FE7 Hector Herb mode. You get the one from chapter 17, then you won't get another until like chapter 21 or 22, Kinship's Bond. But I do believe you get another one a little bit earlier. No, you still get it around the same time. You could use both still. But a lot of people also want to use Oswin, so I think that's a good reason why you could only use one Cavalier. But I think generally people are just still stuck on a class-by-class mentality a little bit, especially back then. Sane may have a thing for girls, but Kent is the guy you can probably rely more on, due to his personality, or just the way he fares on the battlefield. Blah. Simply put, it's entirely up to your choice. I feel like they could talk about Kent's better speed. I think that's his main advantage over Sane. Defense and HP, I think the difference is fairly marginal. It's probably there, I remember it being there, but it's not as huge. Speed lead is like slightly more important. Sane's strength lead is definitely what makes him better though, in my opinion. I do agree you can't really go wrong with either, but I just use both. Marcus, yep, this is gonna be good. You guys called it. I'm sure you called it. 6 out of 10. Why do I even bother commenting about him? Don't get me wrong, Marcus isn't really that bad, unlike how majority of players just loathe him. But you can't escape from the fact that he is nothing spectacular either. His HP suffers the most, and the rest of his stats, more or less, just average. You can try to cross your fingers and hope that at least one of his stats maxes out, but it will probably never happen. Okay, maybe skill. However, if you just love Marcus and must have him in your party, take my advice and let him warm the side bench for the first couple of missions after he appears. Do not even think of using him. Marcus is a total EXP hog, and it's just no good letting him have the kills for the early part of the game. Moving on. Lowen. 7 out of 10. No, seriously guys, seriously. I mean, it's 2004, I can't be too mad. I thought this at some point, but man, how did we ever think there's a paladin with gigantic stat leads over every single enemy in the game? Let's not use him. Put him on the bench. That's where he belongs. Put him on the bench. That's too good to be true. Let's not use him. Use weaker characters to kill enemies. And then later, when Marcus is no longer broken, then you can start using him. It's, oh my god. Lowen. 7 out of 10 from Koji, and then we have 3 ratings here about Lowen, but they're all not very different. Lowen. Plain and dull. That's Lowen. Makes me wonder what Rebecca sees in him. Lowen has the potential to become a good paladin, but that is if you are lucky. He usually ends up above average, so you are mostly better off sticking with either Sane or Kent. However, Lowen does get really high HP in defense, giving him the ability to pass off as a tanker. Other than that, that's all there is to Lowen. I told you he was boring. Oh, and yeah, he seriously needs a haircut. Lowen is a rather neglected unit. At first, he doesn't seem too good, but you'll soon realize that his stats are really good. His HP, speed and defense should max easily, making him very difficult to take down. His resistance is also the second best for a paladin, with Marcus being the best. He also has the highest constitution of all the paladins. There really isn't much to comment on. His stats are just really rounded out with some shining areas. The funny thing about Lowen, I think I say this every time I'm comparing the Cavaliers, his bases for his level are actually like a combination of Sane and Kent's greatest hits. He has like more strength than Kent and more speed than Sane, kind of. His growths are a bit worse. They're like 10 to 20% worse in those areas compared to the best ones. But Lowen, I think Iggy says it reasonably. He has some reasonably well-rounded stats with some good areas too. He's the tankiest of the Cavaliers for sure. He does have speed issues. He definitely has speed issues, and his strength isn't like spectacular. Like he does kind of fall off. He's not the highest potential, but I do think it's very helpful in the early game. And long term, I think he's fine. He's not terrible, but you do need to give him some good weapons to make up for the slight loss in stats compared to like Sane. Like Sane has the strength to kill like anything, but Lowen is pretty weak in comparison sometimes. But he's not bad, not at all. But then again, 7, 7, and 8 is not a bad score or anything. I would personally give him an 8, just because of the mounted class. But we already established that they do not care about that kind of thing. Let me read Amwar's comment, because this is Amwar's introduction to this thing. First off, let me just say that in my opinion, Lowen is the best paladin in FE7. Marcus is bad, Isadora is less than mediocre, Saint's a little too wild and missing in some stats, Kent is balanced but needs help and luck and sometimes defense, and finally, Lowen wins over Kent because even though his strength, skill and speed aren't great like Kent's, they're still good. Or they're not great like Kent's, but they're still good. Okay. Lowen has nice luck, defense and resistance, which are Kent's weaknesses. Also, Lowen having more con than Kent allows for more freer use of heavier weapons. Okay, but he's slower. So it like compensates, doesn't it? Also, Lowen having more con than Kent. Oh wait, I already got that. Assuming you get him to a level 20 Cavalier, expect all of his stats to be in the double digits by promotion, though maybe resistance being 1 or 2 points off. I like to support him with Rebecca or Elliewood. Alright, this one hypes him a little bit too much, I think. Like, Saint's a little too wild, Kent's balanced. It's like, being balanced is not necessarily a good thing. You want some stats are just better than others. You'd rather have good strength, speed, and defense, and then be worse than everything else. But I guess none of the Cavaliers really apply to that description. Or rather, that description doesn't apply to all the Cavaliers. Next, meme. Isadora. Yeah, this is gonna be great. 6.5 out of 10. Wow, female paladin. Double wow, slightly better than Marcus. No, wait, that isn't good. Isadora starts as a level 1 paladin, and you may think she still gets like 19 more levels to prove her worth, but chances are you will end up being disappointed. She may sometimes get such poor stats that even Marcus could beat her, except speed, that is. Her speed is what really shines though, and it is a good thing it does, because her build, aka Constitution, is pathetic for a paladin. Use her if you want, as she can be an overall decent... I misjudged this sentence so much. Use her if you want, as she can be overall decent at its best, but there are just better candidates that you can choose from, period. Doesn't matter. Paladin is a good class. You can use multiple. Isadora, not spectacular, but pretty good. 6.5 is actually not that far from what I rate Isadora. I'd say she's like 7.5 or something. She's like a reasonably okay unit in a game with a lot of broken ass units. That's, I wouldn't say a problem, but it's like it's what makes her a bit underrated, I think. Or at least before I made waifu Isadora. Shoutouts. We analyze interesting Isadoras. Knights General, my favorites. Oh right, this is the best section. Comments on Wallace. Question mark out of 10. Coming soon as I play Wallace a second time. There, Baldy. Happy that I'm gonna use you again, aren't you? Smiley face. Wow, I too like to write guides without using a character, and then like posting the guide without ever using the character. It's been 50 years, Dark Koji. Where's my Wallace rating? Come on, get it in here. Alright, let's move on to Oswin. 8 out of 10. Oswin is probably this game's best tanker. I love how he says tanker, not just tank. It's a tanker, along with Hector. His defense can get so high you will be laughing whenever an enemy deals 0 damage to him. That is true, that is funny. Add in a big amount of HP and good resistance, and Oswin is seriously a worthwhile unit to use. But since he is a general, he only has mediocre movement range, and he might prove to be a little bit too slow in battle, like reaching the battle scene when everyone else have finished off the enemies. Well, slow and steady wins the race, but that doesn't always apply, at least not in this game. P.S. I just like the way Oswin is able to tame Sarah and their supports. Alright, okay. I'm glad he mentioned movement range at least. Some people just don't see that as a problem at all, but hey. I don't actually have a whole lot against this rating. I think it's pretty decent. I mean, I think movement is a bigger deal than they do, sure, but other than that, this is fine. And of course, Oswin has amazing stats in their playthroughs, because that's just Oswin. Oswin has really good stats, besides speed, but the speed is still good enough to double most of the time, which is part of what makes him earn this good reputation. What the fuck, he had 22 speed on an Oswin, what the fucking hell. Archer, Sniper, my other favorites. Alright, I think they do Will first. Yeah, they do Will first. 7.5 out of 10. In my opinion, Will deserves some credits for being a good archer. Rebecca may be better, but her stat growths are a little bit shaky, therefore rather unpredictable, and may result in ending up inferior to Will. This confuses me. So Rebecca is better, but her stat growth are like, I guess they're saying like unbalanced, as she's like more prone to being RNG screwed. I've always hated that phrase so much. More prone to RNG being screwed. Like, Will is like more well-rounded across the board, which I guess gives me the idea that he's more reliable, but it really doesn't mean anything. Let's read on. Will is more of a stable archer in my opinion, so you can't really go wrong with his stats as long as you level him up diligently. People always talk about like leveling up well or leveling up properly, but what is there to leveling up characters besides giving them enough XP to reach that 100, you know, getting that level up screen? What else is there to it? Like, you can't manipulate their stats by leveling them up differently or something. Like, there's one game where you can do that kind of. It's FE9, where they have like, you get like slight stat differences, and that's in fixed mode only, but they cannot be referring to that. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. This is just people thinking they have control over something they don't. I think they just don't get statistics. Okay. His drawback, well, is probably his personality. Will is kind of a plain guy, but he still makes a better partner for Rebecca than some other guy. Lowen, shoo. Give Lowen a try. Give Will a try. You won't be disappointed. I hope. Okay. No. Just no. Becca. Arguably the best archer in the game. Take that, Louise. Rebecca is also probably one of the best dodgers as well. From my experience, enemies love to pick her as their target. She is like a sitting duck in melee, but they rarely do hit her anyway. Rebecca's glaring weakness is her low defenses, and while she can successfully evade most attacks, always keep her behind the lines, just to play safe. So she's a great dodge tank, but put her behind on the back lines anyway, just to play safe. So sure. Great, I love dodge tank Rebecca. If she even has to venture out, tag her along with a support partner. You can do wonders. Rebecca x Will is great, but Raven Dart can do the job too. Or even Lowen. Disappointed smiley face. And since Rebecca is cute and me being biased, it is more than enough reason for me to warrant her a high rating. Okay, fine. I'm glad this is a very objective guide. Iki's comments, 9.5 out of 10. She is the best sniper you'll ever come across. She'll max out or come close to in nearly every stat. Her ability to dodge is amazing, although occasionally enemies do manage to hit her. She's deadly with support from the lovely Nino and that mercenary, Raven. Out of all the 3 snipers you can get, she's the only one that will be good. Onwards comments, 9.5 out of 10. I share Iki's optimistic view here. In comparison to Will, Rebecca trades some defense for crazy skill and speed. She's very useful against magic. I had her max out of resistance once. Can dodge anything you throw at her, and strength, skill, speed, and luck will all be in their 20s, close to maxing out if they don't get there. Oh, I don't remember Rebecca's strength being that good. Come on. Paired up with Nino, she forms half of the teenage girl wrecking ball duo, which I use a lot myself. I'm not going to even gripe about her defense, because at least it's not in the low range of Sarah, Lucis, and Priscilla. I'm pretty sure it's not that much better. Anyway, you'd have to use a really high accuracy weapon to hit her. If you're having little trouble leveling her up, pair her with Lowen, one of my favorite units. Okay, so sure, Rebecca gets good avoid if you pair her with like the support partners, but supports take forever and a half to build. And they're lame. Support abuse is lame and breaks the game for like almost any character. And also Rebecca's not that good, and also Archer's are shit. So, point taken. Louise! Well, I know someone who's happy about these. That's it. Deep breaths. Do you feel better? Oh shit, they don't have a rating for Louise. Comments. Question mark out of 10. Coming soon. Louise, fret not. You will get your comments on the next update, whichever that day is. Well then. I'm disappointed. Where's my Louise rating? Where's my Wallace rating? It's been... Wow, they really hate Mangs on this guide. No Wallace, no Louise. Wow. Wrath. Because Nomads, Nomad Troopers. That big category. Like, which one are you gonna choose, guys? Which one are you gonna take? 7.5 out of 10. Like it or not, Wrath is the only choice if you intend of using a Nomad. Fortunately, Wrath is anything but bad, but although not what I would call a kick-ass character, he's still pretty useful in battles with his high strength, speed, and HP to prove it. A good candidate to pair up with Lyn, and as a man of few words, Wrath let his bow or sword do most of the talking instead. Maybe that explains the oh so few supports he can acquire. Yep, that's Wrath alright. That's they actually caught a way that they integrated character into gameplay mechanics. Good on them. I agree, Wrath statistically is pretty good. I think they could have talked about how he joins a little later than he could have. That's what annoys me the most with Wrath. But, I mean, everything else is fine. Like, Wrath's stats are pretty good if he's leveled up. It's just, I didn't say this before because it seems pretty obvious to me, but they put so much emphasis here on, like, their final stats, like level 20, instead of how they're performing throughout the game. They talk about it in their opinion section, but they still put, like, so much emphasis on, like, maxing out stats and stuff. This was really almost like an epidemic back then. We've gotten better. We've learned things now, thankfully. He maxed out strength on his Wrath. I wonder how likely that is. Wrath's stats are pretty good. Pegasus Knight, Falcon Knight. Oh, this will be non-controversial, I'm sure. I'm a second ranked Pegasus Knight, aren't I? Florina, 9 out of 10. My favorite Pegasus Knight, Glee. Florina has great speed growth, along with pretty good skill and luck growths. Compared to her other Pegasus Knight sisters, she loses out a bit on the strength department, hampering her usefulness slightly. She's still a good attacker though, especially for slaying enemy mages. Florina is a bit frail too, so make sure you know where you're making her charge into. All in all, she's just playing good, plus the point that she and Hector make a cute couple. I always thought Hector and Florina's CG at the end was kind of weird and almost, yeah, I never liked it very much. I do agree with the rating actually, and it's actually pretty good for its time, talking about how the flying is like, actually did he talk about flying being helpful? It just talks about her being a good attacker and mage slayer. It also said she's fragile, you need to be careful where you put her. That's actually good advice. Other than that, did he actually manage to write this whole thing without talking about flying at all? Wow, I just realized, I just assumed it would be in there, because it's like, it's so important to Florina in particular. And instead it just talks about her stats. Okay, guess they don't fly at all. Guess they're playing a different version of the game than I am. Flying matters, guys. Okay, 8.5 for Fiora. Another good Pegasus Knight. Fiora comes a little later than Florina, but there is still more than sufficient time to train her. She should get better resistance compared to Florina, but lesser luck. It's basically a toss-up between the two of them, though you can always use both. Duh. Yes! Yes! You can always use both. Thank you, guide, for noting this. Crap, since they're all so hot. I mean, good. Just use the one you think looks more appealing to you. Okay, end of discussion. Wow. I love how these guides, written by like younger people, because I suspect these people are like pretty young, they always turn into like a little bit of a, comedy stand-up. As if they're making like, as if they're like doing a show or making a YouTube video or something. Who the hell does that anyway? It's always like, it's so awkward to read sometimes, because this is a written guide. But yeah, other than that, not actually the worst rating for Fiora. Farina, the last of the Pegasus Knight trio. This little lass is one expensive unit. Despite the hefty cost though, Farina is a worthwhile character. And without her, you will never be able to use the Pegasus triangle attack. Not like it matters anyway. Thank you, I was really afraid they were going to put emphasis on this. Not like it matters anyway. I have heard lots of good things about how Farina can far surpass either Florina or Fiora in terms of stats, but I have yet to see that happening in my game. Oh shit, if only there was some way to look at the stats of all those characters on a website somewhere. Well, again, I don't know if that's like that existed back then or not, but you can tell by Farina's growth that she does pretty much have better stats than Florina or Fiora once she's been trained. Nevertheless, Farina is still an awesome unit. Give her a Delphi shield and she is near unstoppable. Only available on Hector's route. Eliwood, what? No fair! Like you can even see these stats, they're pretty good. Although I guess they got pretty blessed on their Fioras and Florinas as well. So, like the problem with the Pegasus Knights is never their bad ending stats or anything. They're all pretty good. Statistically, they especially where their stats, where they're looking at like capped stats. They cap out strength. Their strength isn't even that great, but their strength cap is really low, so it looks good for them. It's like flashing green. They're like, oh my god, that's so good. Alright, next category. Wyvern Rider, Wyvern Lord, Heath and Vida. Coming soon, I promise. I'm still waiting, guys, I'm still waiting. If Mangs had been able to see a Heath rating back then, maybe he would have given him a better rating. Who knows? What about Vida? Vida, coming soon, along with Heath's comments, that is. Maybe I should try pairing Vida with Harkin on next gameplay. Sounds like fun. Wow, I'm glad this guy is giving me some great advice. Alright, Urk time. Mage, Sage. Oh boy, I can't wait for Nino. 7.5 out of 10 for Urk. In my honest opinion, Urk is actually quite good, contrary to how most remark that he is not on par with his other fellow mages. His defense or luck growth may not look promising, but his other stats usually grow quite nicely. Who cares if Urk might not match up with Nino or Pence? Matters most is that Urk does his job as a mage pretty well. Wow, he almost caught the essence of these kind of debates. It doesn't matter how he compares Nino or Pent, what matters is how Urk does himself, but then he talked about as a mage and his whole credibility went down the drain. Mekkah, don't be so mean, it's 2019. Like, you were shit at this game back then. Shut the fuck up. The point is, comparing him to Nino or Pent makes no sense. Anyway, able to blow up almost anything he faces within 2 hits, and not forgetting the fact that he's able to dodge the majority of what's thrown at him. Seriously, Urk should not be underestimated. If he does have a major flaw, it got to be his name. Urk. That's a cute rating. I don't even mind this rating too much. It's like, it's for 2004 standards, this is pretty good. Pence. 0.5 points over Urk because, oh wait, it's Anwar. Koji. I will come to Pen as soon as possible, though it means I have to play through the game again. Darn, I hate playing this game. That's why I make guides for it. But anyway, Anwar has got us. Anwar gives us an 8 out of 10. I really don't know how you can't give a Pen rating though, because the guy joins with stats good to go. So it's not like you even have to play the whole game again. You could just make like a backup save. It's not like Urk where you have to train him hack all the way through. Anyway, Pence. Pent arrives promoted, which might make you think, yuck, straight out. But then you look at his stats and you see how good they are. He's got all the benefits of a Sage and even makes up for the weak spots in areas like with the defense. However, he practically gains nothing from his level ups and therefore loses his chance at cementing a spot in your battle team. Well, damn guys. Like, what if Pent came with all capped stats? Then he would never gain points from leveling up, but he'd be your best character. My fucking mic, man. Also this fucking guy sometimes. Anyway, he does start very nice with weapon levels though. A anima, A stav. Use him on chapters where magic will prove effective good. But don't make him a regular. Pent gets good, guys. Oh my god. Well. This is oh my god, no. Really? Okay. 9 out of 10. Nino. Looks like your typical brat, but her appearance can be deceiving, and this girl takes that saying to greater heights. Other than HP and defense, Nino's growths are downright fabulous, and possess great potential in maxing out many of her stats. The downside is that she comes quite late into the game, and starts off as a low-leveled weakling mage too. It will prove to be quite a task to level her up from here, but the rewards may well worth the trouble. There's no B in here. If you find it too much of a hassle, stick to Urk or Pent then. A very good contender to use the Afas drops on. Okay. Where do I start? I don't. Like, it's the standard Nino defense. Like, what am I gonna do? Let's read the other one. Nino is going to be your best mage, despite the fact she comes in so late. She maxes out speed, skill, and resistance, and usually gets high defense, luck, and strength. Wow. I might even never get strength. Even though her constitution doesn't even allow her to use a fire book without losing the Fey and Speed promotion, she won't be that easy to hit anyway. Yeah, that's right, because you have to keep her away from all enemies at all costs for 10 levels before it starts being worth something. I usually throw her into a group of enemies and watch her obliterate them. I tried that, it didn't work. She's also very cute. Smiley face. Oh, that's also important. Gotta have the smiley faces in your ratings. Yeah, Nino's final stats are good. So if you don't look at the part where you have to train her to those final stats, then yeah, she's looking pretty good. Okay, Cleric, Monk, Bishop. All right, well, I know. Okay, I should make predictions. Sarah, they're gonna give her an 8.5 because only healer and really cute. And Lucius, he's gonna get like also an 8 because only light magic user. And then Renault is gonna get like a 4 out of 10 because yuck pre-promotes. And he's late, and you don't need him because you have other magical characters. Let's see. Well, here's Sarah, 8.5. What do you know? What do I know? As annoying as Sarah is, she's actually quite useful. I should scroll down a little bit more. It may take quite a while to max her levels out, while she's a sister, not the cleric, sister, but doing so may get you a valuable unit in time to come. A top-notch healer with that 2 base magic of hers, and a pretty good fighter too when she gets to the bishop class. Her defense and HP growth will leave much to be desired, but her solid speed and luck make up for that. However, if you want a more dedicated light magic user, you may find Lucius more handy instead. Unless you use Sarah to battle a lot, her light magic rating will not get high enough, thus unable to use the more complex spells. Well, it's not like those A or S grade light spells will rock anyway. Exactly, fuck those shit. Like, if you want a good healer, use Sarah or Priscilla, but like, who cares? Dedicated light magic, what kind of nonsense is that? What is this, 2004? Oh, right, it is 2011. Never mind. Lucius, 8 out of 10. Wow, I'm spot on. I like, okay, full disclosure, I did read this guide a long time ago, I think. Like, I probably checked all Fire Emblem guides at one point in my life. But I haven't seen this in ages. There you go, the first light magic user you'll be getting in this game. Lucius is a pretty man, no joke, whose magic, speed, and resistance can go skyrocketing, making him really cut out as a good offensive unit. He would have been the best magic using unit if not for some flaws. His HP, luck, and defense is a reason for you to panic. What about Pent then? Because Pent is like the best out of all the magic users, besides like Ethos. You can't just simply throw Lucius into the middle of a horde of melee attackers and hope he emerges victorious. Yeah, he will probably dodge his way out of it, but still. Fun fact, you can give Lucius some avoid supports, but his personal affinity does not give avoids, so kinda sucks. One plus point? Plus points? Plus points. I suspect these people are Dutch. I'm gonna try to check that. One plus point is that when he promotes the bishop, his staff rating jumps from nothing to C grade. No fair. Sarah's light only skips to D. Lucius is good, but definitely not a necessary unit. Yeah, because like Nino is necessary. And I usually pick Sarah over him. I wonder why. She's probably cute. Okay, Renault. And what do we get? 6.5. I underestimated these people. Cheesy. Renault is practically overshadowed by Sarah or Lucius, making him very inferior when compared. Sure, he comes high leveled and with an awesome staff, though darn late in the game. For a bishop, Renault's magic is like utter crap. Fun fact, it's higher than Sarah until Sarah is like almost maxed out. However, he is still a decent healer, but you can do much better with Sarah or Lucius. Heck, you may even want to use Ethos as your healer, better than wasting one unit slot on Renault. Use him if you want, just don't expect much from him. Okay, fine, I'll just not use that A-rank staff stuff. Guess I won't. Oh, it's Priscilla, cute Prissy, 8.5 out of 10. Cute Prissy. Priscilla here is the only playable troubadour you get in this game, and good thing she is good. As a troubadour, she gets better movement rate than any full healer, as well as really high aid, enough to rescue nearly anybody. She is a frail one though. Master Kenobi, you are our frail one, and is best kept at a safe distance, away from enemies, at least before becoming a Valkyrie. It is advisable to promote her as soon as possible, since she can double up as a mage, and quite nicely too. Don't weigh her down with the big spells though. I find her much more useful with the lighter tomes. Give her an angelic robe and she can surely hold her own battles well. She can hold her own battles well. I'm really trying hard not to make fun of their language, but these contaminations and other kinds of the way they express themselves sometimes, it makes me suspect that they are like Dutch. Like plus point sounds like a very literal translation. The Dutch have a very tendency, they have they're very tempted usually to translate things literally, like I just did. So that's why it reminds me of them. Don't worry though. I no longer hate the Dutch. I no longer self-hate. But yeah. That's Priscilla. I mean, not even like a bad rating or anything. Advisable to promote her as soon as possible is interesting. She can double up as a mage. Yeah, I guess they mean like she can attack as well as heal. Interesting that they recommend this. People were like allergic to early promotions back then. But maybe they mean like level her to 20 and then promote her as soon as possible. I would not be surprised. Alright, Shaman Druid. Kanas is good. He's gonna get like a 9 out of 10 because it's the only Shaman in the game. Well, close enough. Kanas, the dorky one. He's the only Shaman you will be getting, but only accessible if you go through the chapter 16 side story. Keep in mind this is edit mode. So, is he worth the trouble? Heck yeah! Honestly, Kanas does not have the best stat growths, but because he is your sole unit who can use dark magic, his rating goes up. I told you guys. It's undeniable that his spells rock, and may even prove to be a bit too overpowering as well. Too overpowering. As for Kanas himself, let's just say he is alright. Overall, a very lethal unit, but not indispensable, not like anyone is. And by the way, anyone agree he kind of resembles Chokai or G? It's like, I don't speak anime, I'm sorry. 8 out of 10 from Anwar. Kanas would be excellent, seeing how he's got a choice of dark magic, but his problem is he's too darn balanced and ruins most of the goods of ancient magic. First of all, they're heavy. Kanas doesn't have great con, though his speed is good. Toss him a Luna and most people will be getting 2 hits on this guy. That's right, don't use Luna, it's not very good. Dark magic is strong. Kanas isn't weak, but he doesn't get enough magic to be able to kill everything in sight within a battle, which is annoying because he needs to make up for that lack of speed. He gets weighed down by 1 by Flux. 1 speed. You know who else gets weighed down by 1 from like their basic tomes? Neo, Sarah, Urk gets weighed down by Thunder. Like, I'm shaking my head, you guys can't see it, but I'm really annoyed by these double standards. Like, I know Kanas is already super fast, but I think I've shown pretty elaborately that Kanas is fast enough to double. Shoutouts to Kanas waifu. Anyway, his one reliable stat is resistance, while his defense and luck are okay, but in the end, he's just too balanced. If he just sacrifices a teeny weeny bit of resistance for some magic or speed. However, supports ease the problem a little. Yeah, because supports give you more speed with them. I mean, I can see what they mean because he doesn't max out anything, but maxing out doesn't matter. This rating annoys the fuck out of me. This annoys the fuck out of me. But these kind of sentiments are why I made the Kana's wife video. Even though it's 2004. But hey, whatever. Okay, Swordmasters. Just a little more. Keep going. Keep breathing. Short breaths. Or whatever. Guy gets a 7.5 out of 10. Guy proves to be a very fast and accurate unit from the time he is recruited and to the end, provided he is properly leveled up. I hate that phrase. Unfortunately, other than his speed and skill being top-notched, his other stats are just above average. Despite that, Guy is not a total loss. He can be a reliable fighter once he's promoted. And even if his defenses can remain horribly low, he can dodge well, and I mean very well. Funny is, his HP can get pretty high too, surprising for a Myrmidon. Guy's criticals are what makes him notable, so trust him to pull lots of those flashy, dicing actions on your foes. Sweet! A tilde and a smiley face. Wow, Guy must be really good. Fair enough. I mean, I hate the lack of 1-2 range, but clearly they're not bothering by it. I mean, I hate the lack of amount too. I hate the lack of any other weapon type besides swords. I do agree his HP is actually pretty high. I think his base is already like 30 or something. It's pretty good. I don't know. I'm just really annoyed by the Kana's rating still, if you guys can't tell. Oh my god. Fucking... Just move on. Okay, Karel. The Sword Demon. He gets a 7 compared to a 7.5. Interesting. 7. The Sword Demon. You basically can't go wrong with a guy that kind of alias. Okay, so we're not referring to Guy. By the way, that is how you pronounce Guy, according to Don, who knows everything. But perhaps that title was quite overrated as well, at least on Karel. He's just not as uber strong as he was described to be. Karel is still a considerably good fighter though, and Swordmaster is good. Well, I mean, why even read anything else? Why even read anything else? Carla, 6.5 out of 10. Sword Princess, average. If you thought either Guy or Karel was bad, wait until you use Carla. Swordmaster, screwy. Ooh, at least she got the looks. What am I reading? I thought I was reading a character guide. Anyway, Carla isn't too bad of a fighter, and as she's got remarkable speed and skill. But which Swordmaster doesn't? Duh. Still decent at least. So, use her if you like. Hope you're critical all the way with her. Well, this is worthless. Okay, Mercenary Hero. I got Raven and probably Harken, and then nothing else here, because that's who's in the class. Raven, very useful, like his lovely sister, Priscilla. Raven is one heck of a powerhouse. Given the right weapon for the situation, he can wipe out a bunch of enemies with little difficulty. But like most characters, he does come with his own set of flaws. Raven lacks the resistance, so he may not be all the best when up against spellcasters. He's one of the only two heroes you can possibly get in the game, and being potentially better than the other, Harken. Raven would seem like the natural choice to pick between them. Sure, class by class aside, sure, that's a reasonable way to put Raven. Sure, we'll go with it. Sure, that's fine, that's okay. Oh! Comments, question mark out of 10. Coming soon. Zzz. Okay, we just... Like, why even talk about Harken here and then just... That just makes it seem like you know something about Harken when you talk about him, like, he's probably better than the Harken other one, and then here it's like... Zzz. Fighter, Warrior. Dorcas. Dorcas is what you would call 7 out of 10. Decent at best. This is the same rating as Guy, and it's the same rating as... I don't remember who else. I'm pretty sure there was like a couple characters who were like barely higher. He grows like a typical warrior. High HP, strength, defense, but with an extra dose of skill. What I really don't like about him is that he gets real little speed until it isn't even funny. No doubts, Dorcas is still a worthy unit to use, but seriously, if you need another axe user other than Hector, go with Dart or even Barcha. Okay. I agree with speed is bad, but this is a really weird way to phrase it. Real little speed until it isn't even have. Whatever. Barcha. This dude here knows nothing but fighting, and luckily, he is good at it. Barcha isn't much different from Dorcas, except he traded a little bit of skill for more speed. Yeah, that 3-base speed. Real good. For once, a dumbo like him made a better choice. More speed would mean more chances at double attacking, and coupled with Barcha's strength, not many foes would survive a single duel with him. Well, he do misses once in a while, but sure that isn't so bad of a problem, except when he misses and he dies to like a double attack, because Barcha and Dorcas are like poster childs for bases over growths. Barcha has worse speed until like level 15 or something, but you wouldn't know that if you just look at the level 20 stats, which these guys do. Alright, Geats, the eldest son of a wealthy merchant, finding himself. Perhaps I still seek the meaning of my own life. I'm reading this out because, of course, question out of 10, coming soon. I wonder when I will ever come about to commenting about him, ... I find it surprising because they didn't use Wallace either, but they seem like people who trained our lords, so I don't know. I thought it would have trained lords at this point and have like Geats, but I guess they just didn't use him. Alright, Dart time. If you need an axe user, Dart is probably all you need, other than Hector, that is. Sure, I'm not a big fan of axe wielders, but you can't hide the fact that Dart is a powerful combatant. He got lots of strength and speed, hence Dart will be crushing everyone with his dual attacks. It is notable too that he gets to critical more often than other axe fighters, which is a good thing. After promotion, this is true. Skill is a problem here, so you may want to get him a support with Rebecca, Will, or Farna to get the extra boost of accuracy he needs. Fun fact, Farna only gives half hit, but he still has his own affinity, so whatever. I'm gonna hold off on judgment on this because I know this rating below, I scrolled through this a little bit, is even worse. Imagine a swordmaster with an axe. Now go have some fun. Smiley face. Dart, along with being a much better berserker than Hawkeye, is ridiculously fun to use. You've got to enjoy the one-hit KOs, combined with crit rates in the teens, 20s, and excellent accuracy, especially with an axe. Awesome strength, skill, and speed. Gives Dart a slight advantage over swordmasters in my favor. Okay, since they don't have as much power and he'll get so fast, your best attempts to thwart him with heavy axes and annoy him, his slightly light build for an axeman will all fail? What is this sentence? Let me read it again. And he'll get so fast, your best attempts to thwart him with heavy axes and annoy his slightly light build for an axeman will all fail. Okay, so basically they're saying he's getting weighed down, but it doesn't matter because he's so fast anyway. The reason he isn't perfect is mainly because, as a pirate, he is a little boring. Okay, then elaborate please. His speed develops excellently, but it starts low. His main attacking weapon puts that speed down to 3, so he can dodge nothing. That's the axe he joins with. You can trade that. It's like and he also joins with like a hand axe that like weighs him down less, and you can trade weapons. It's not his main attacking weapon. Just because someone joins with a weapon doesn't mean they... Fuck. Hawkeye. Unlike other pre-promoted units you can get, Hawkeye actually have tons of HP. Yeah, because, you know, Marcus is really low HP, and Geats, and Wallace, and Harkin. Yeah, they have really low HP. Penn too, they have really low HP. But unlike other pre-promoted units that you can get, Hawkeye actually has tons of HP, and he may even max it out too. Sadly, he probably won't match up with a well-trained Dart, so you probably would ditch him anyhow. Hawkeye's good defense and resistance does hint that he could be a good tanker, but that's about it. With very limited available supports too, Hawkeye will just end up being a rather mediocre fighter. Dude, have you seen Hawkeye dab on people in FE7? He kills everything. Okay, like, I know it's 2004, I know there's like people are allergic to pre-promotes, but how can you take one look at Hawkeye in battle and think, this is not very good, I don't really like this. Like, it's normal mode, he like doubles enemies naturally, it's stupid. Hawkeye is so fucking good. Anyway, thieves and assassins. Oh my god, are we done yet? I'm gonna speak at how long it's gonna take, because I can't take much more of this fucking guide. Bart Dancer, Tent Transporter, Arc Sage, that's it. Okay. Fucking hell, this guy... I lost my patience with this, because it's so bad at these points. It gets worse and worse. Okay, Matthew. I do not get it. Maybe Matthew hates me or something. Or hates me in my game or something. It is just so freaking difficult for me to raise his strength, defense, and resistance somehow. It's because his growths are low. Don't get me wrong, I personally like Matthew, but he's not giving me a nice time for using him. Exasperated smiley face, me in real life. His forte lies in his overwhelming speed growth, allowing him to nimbly evade practically almost everything. Sometimes you just need to pick between 1 and 2, like, expressions. They keep picking 2 at a time. Let's not mock the language. As an assassin, he does fight surprisingly well. Matthew seldom misses and occasionally gets to unleash a critical or the ever-useful death blow. I've never seen that name for one-hit KO before. Or silencer. Get used to seeing him dealing 0 damage once in a while though, especially with the strength of his. He's not a good fighter, he sucks. They even have the growth rates up here, I just noticed. Wow. They know the growth rates, they just don't care. They just don't care. It's like, oh my god, why does his strength never go up? Well, it's 30%. Of course it never goes up. Also didn't mention how the Fel contract is so fucking late. It's so annoying that you can't promote him for ages. Legold is creepy. Yeah, sure, he's actually a nice guy, but he just looked like the person who would try to backstab you when you aren't looking. But at least he is a useful thief. If you haven't been bothering to level Matthew up, Legold can substitute him for future treasure raids. If you do wish to promote Legold, he will make a decent assassin. You actually get to benefit more from Legold if you acquire him through hard mode, as he will appear with slight beefed up stats as compared to normal mode. This is only true for Hector or hard mode, and it actually defeats my point earlier that Legold actually, that they actually do play Hector hard mode sometimes, but they just don't know that it doesn't work in Eliwood hard mode, I guess. Nobody ever plays Hector Eliwood hard mode, so I don't blame them. Also, Legold's hard mode bonuses are absolute trash because they go by the thief class, which means he gets mostly speed and HP, like 3 points of each, and he doesn't even get a full point of strength from it. He gets like a quarter of a point of strength from it. It's ridiculously bad and ridiculously irrelevant. Yeah. Other than that, like, this is pretty much how people use Legold anyway, so I don't hate it per se. I think Legold is much better at fighting because I don't have to train him, but that's me. And Jafar. Jafar is seriously made to be an assassin, no doubt about it. His luck may remain low, though his other stats will be good, but 15% for strength growth rate? Fret not, as Jafar starts off at 19 strength and only needs 1 more point to max it out anyway. They do know what bases are. They do know that units do not just work off their growth rates. They've been fooling me all along. I guess they can look at bases when they feel like they need an excuse to like someone. He is actually just a mere sword-swinging fighter, but it's his high critical rate and deadly one-hit kill ability that makes him such a dangerous unit. Just equip him with killer swords, and even the strongest foe may not stand against his deadly swordplay. His critical rate is not actually that high. It's only high because everyone gives him a killing edge, and because they wanted to see him do the one kill thingy, and because he's always wielding killing edges in like cutscenes and stuff. Jafar's for fanboys, man. Jafar is a great unit, but he has some serious flaws. Although he ends up with the best stats for an assassin, there are still some definite problems. First, his avoidance can be amazing when going up against axe wielders and sword users, but he just seems to get hit all the time by the stupid Pegasi. Oh yeah, those Pegasi in the chapter when he joins. Yeah, those do like 10 damage or something. It's pretty bad. They suck. Otherwise, he's good. Plus, he's one of the few that can support that cute girl, Nino. I love Nino. Smiley face. Hopefully, Jafar won't know about this. I'm really glad they put that in a guide. Bart Dancer. Nils. Quite an underrated character in this game. Nils and Ninian do deserve some credits. As most players would know by now, Nils and Ninian share the same stats, as they can actually be treated as one unit. Thank you. Okay, Nils Ninian actually has the ability to make a character move again once every turn. So, well, that is useful. They can level up my healers quickly by giving them more turns to heal ally, just gaining XP. They allow my thieves to do hit and run techniques and let them cover more distance for stealing purposes. Get the picture? Get the picture, Chaz? Do you get the picture? And about Nils and Ninian being moving targeted practices, just throw in an angel robe and they should be able to survive whatever is being thrown at them for a turn, dodging like there's no tomorrow. So what's the robe for then? If that's not enough, they got those Nido rings, which makes them useful supporting tools for your army. I would give them a higher rating if only they could just fight. Darn, they can't fight. They must be bad. Okay, I'd rate them higher, but I'm actually glad that they're advocating for dancers. 2004 Dark Koji knew more about dancers than Chaz. Alright, Murnus. The 10th Transporter class. I wonder which one you should pick. 9 out of 10. He actually gets a higher rating than like Lucy's and Ken and stuff. If you have played Fire Emblem Fuyu no Tsurugi FE6, you will know how bad Murnus was in that game. In this game, Murnus is back, but he is in his demoted form. Not that this is a totally bad thing though. Despite being seriously handicapped by not being able to even move, Murnus can actually gain levels easily. He gains a level each time he manages to survive a chapter. He got good growth, so once he reaches a pretty high level, he should be able to dodge most enemies' attacks, even if he can't move. Once Murnus reaches level 20, he automatically promotes to FE6 to Transporter. He should have gotten really good stats, like maxing speed and luck at 30. How's that? Irrelevant, because Murnus doesn't suck. Murnus is not good at fighting. But there is something that Murnus in FE6 can do, which this Murnus can't. In FE6, surplus item that you buy or gain can be sent straight to storage with or without Murnus in the battlefield. This time, stuff will only be sent to storage if Murnus is on the battlefield. Duh! Well, I guess you can't get the best of both worlds. Well, that's... I mean, you field Mercenary for free, and generally he stays alive, so... Why is this a thing? Why is this character getting 9 out of 10? Mercenary's best unit. Ethos. Graybeard Ethos. What is there to say about him? He's just your typical, come out late, but is very good character. Taking into consideration that he already has his level maxed out when you get him, there's absolutely no need to worry about stat growing. How nice. Still gets a 9 out of 10 though. Ethos comes with a very nice set of stats. HP sucks though. And he basically got his S rating for every magic type, including staff. But since he only appears with the last chapter, there's just so little you can do with him. Sheesh. 9 out of 10. Alright. Oh my god. This guide, it started off okay. I was gonna cut it a lot of slack. But now I'm like, damn. Damn, Dark Koji, you have a couple things to learn. No offense if you're watching this, by the way. I'm sure you're like more knowledgeable by now if you even still care about this old series, but damn. Anyway, thanks for watching. Drop a like and stuff. Bye.